I'm Caroline, and I am here to tell you the story of Me Too, the world's only classical music organization created for people with mental illnesses and the people who support them. About 2.5 years ago, my friend Ronald Brownstein called me and he said, Caroline, I have a great idea for us. And this was good news because we both needed a great idea. We were both unemployed at the time. I had recently resigned from a position that I'd been in for a very long time and needed a change. And Ronald had been fired from his job during a short period of time when he was struggling with the effects of bipolar disorder and the medications that he takes to manage it. So he came over and he said, you know, listen, I'm tired. It's exhausting, frankly, to be in this career trajectory where I'm working with people who are trying to fit me into a neat little predefined box and just don't understand me and discriminate against me. So I've got an idea. I just want to create an orchestra for people who get me, who understand me, and who want to make music with me. So we are going to create a bipolar orchestra. Yeah, I didn't laugh that hard. This was not the idea I was looking for, exactly. It was a little far out. But look at that face. How can I not want to do this with him? So I started thinking about it, and really my fear was rooted in the fact that I just didn't know if people would come out to play in an orchestra organized around the theme of mental health. I didn't know if people would be brave enough to come out. And then I got stuck on that phrase, come out. And I realized that there was something of a precedent set for this by the gay chorus movement. That started in the late 70s in San Francisco, and it was a group of men who felt disenfranchised, discriminated against, deeply misunderstood by their community, and they got together to make music, support each other, and maybe along the way they'd change a few minds. So emboldened by this example that they'd set, I said, okay, let's try it. We put out the word, and one by one, the emails came in from people saying, this is just what I needed. I've been waiting for this. And we started our first rehearsal with 12 or 15 players, and they walked through the door with diagnoses ranging from schizophrenia to bipolar disorder, OCD, anxiety, depression, you name it. And there were probably about half the members of the orchestra who didn't have a diagnosis. But they loved the mission, and they really loved the opportunity to work with Ronald Brownstein because he is a great, great conductor and a really kind person, and he doesn't judge. And at this point, I should probably admit that I married him 5 months ago. So I'm completely biased. But listen, I was single for 43 years, so I wasn't going to get married to just any conductor. He had to be great. The orchestra started our third season this last week. And we're up to close to 30 members now, ranging in age from 12 to 88. And I have friends in the industry who I went to music school with, and they joke about what I'm doing. You know, they say, oh, hey, Caroline, I heard you started an orchestra for people with mental illness. Yeah, I play in the LA Phil. How is that different than my group? And I say, you know what? Exactly. That's the point. Me Too looks like society. It looks like any orchestra. It looks like any room full of people. The only difference is that we're intentionally acknowledging that everybody has different needs when they walk through the door, and they know that they're in a stigma-free environment and they can be themselves and not be judged. That's Wendy. She turned 88 during rehearsal last week. We do play in some interesting venues. We've made it a priority to perform in prisons because our prisons are full of people with mental health and addiction issues. We played in the Springfield Correctional Institute a few months ago, and at the end of this really joy-filled, happy Mozart overture, there was an inmate in the front row, and he raised his hand and he said, that music is exactly how I feel every morning. I mean, after I take my meds. And the room just erupted in laughter, and there was this great moment of shared humanity between orchestra members, and inmates. Now, about a year ago, we started Me Too Strings, which is a professional arm of Me Too. It's all professional musicians who come from throughout the Northeast, Canada, down to Boston. And they come to work with Ronald. And we started it because we knew we wanted to reach a broader audience with stigma-erasing messages. We wanted to play great music by composers who lived with mental illness. And we wanted to be really aggressive in reaching out to the mental health community and distributing tickets to people who were in mental health care and could not otherwise afford to come to concerts. That's Philo. He's a therapy dog, and he's a member of the orchestra. So I'll close with one story about Me Too Strings. At our last concert, there was a woman who is a mental health client, and she was running in late to come to the concert, running in the back door at UVM with her husband, and Ronald was at the same time coming out of his dressing room in his tails, you know, with his baton, ready to go on stage and start the concert, and she literally collided with him in the hallway, stepped in front of him and pointed at him and said, "Bipolar." And then she pointed at herself. She said, "Bipolar." And I thought that was such a beautiful moment of shared humanity and understanding, and that's really what Me Too Orchestra is all about. Thank you for listening.